It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I have with me in the studio journalist Dare Odufowokan. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, and via Zoom is broadcast journalist Ify Onyegbule. Ify, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you this beautiful Thursday morning.
Absolutely, good to see you as well. All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the first newspaper. Lagos, 4 die, many injured in another building collapse. Think of conspiracy theory, bomb blasts, experts advises. You find details on the first newspaper. To the Business Day, hashtag NSAS panel report, how the army covered up massacre. Hashtag NSAS panel report, how the army covered up massacre. Details on the pages of the Business Day. To the Punch newspaper now. Nigeria risks U.S. Army's embargo over alleged protesters' killings by soldiers. AI director says U.S. Congress to apply yearly laws against Nigeria. Government officials risk a visa ban, withdrawal of privileges, says Akinterenwa. PDP reps ask Blinken to probe violence against hashtag NSAS protesters. All the details on the Punch newspaper. To the Blueprint now. Amidst rising security challenges, Cameroonian separatists raise Taraba community, kill monarch orders. Amid rising security challenges, Cameroonian separatists raise Taraba community, kill monarch orders. Details on the pages of the Blueprint. To the Nigerian News Direct, Cameroonian separatist invasion, Nigeria's sovereignty under threat. Senate speaking there, traditional ruler residents killed. Details on the pages of the Nigerian News Direct. To the Daily Trust, 57 killed in Sokoto in 2 days. Tamboa visits communities, assures support. I killed, 30 kidnapped, 1 killed rather, 30 kidnapped in fresh attack in Niger. Cameroonian rebels kill monarch orders in Taraba. To the Daily Independent now, household food security under threat in Nigeria, World Bank speaking there. To the Vanguard, household food security under threat in Nigeria, World Bank speaking, suggests policy options, says high food prices could push 6 million more Nigerians into poverty. Report contradicts NBS, that's the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics inflation data. Impact of COVID-19 insecurity, floods severe, 6 million more Nigerians going into poverty. It's a wake-up call, says World Bank country director. To the Nigerian Tribune, a World Bank food inflation could push 6 million more Nigerians into poverty. Poverty rate to hit 42.8%. Nigeria witnessed highest surge in food price inflation in 2 decades. Food insecurity may have long-run consequences for human capital. To this Nigerian newspaper, battle for soul of ruling party escalates. Fresh crisis hits APC. Battle for soul of ruling party escalates. Fresh crisis hits APC. You find the details on this Nigerian newspaper. To the Daily Sun now. Security cordons off roads to APC headquarters. Movement to deny protesters access to party office. That's the stories on the pages of the Daily Sun. To the Leadership newspaper now. Conflicting court orders 64 days after probe panels yet to sit over erring judges. 64 days after probe panel yet to sit over erring judges. To the Nation newspaper now, disquiet as petrol sells for 159 naira per litre at depot. Product raised by 11 naira per litre. NNPC accuses operators of breaching pact. And to the Daily Times, Kaduna teachers to Ify, we won't write another competency test. We won't write another competency test. That's the story you find on the front page of the Daily Times. To the national economy now. Salaries, emoluments consume 90% of SEC's revenue. Salaries, emoluments consume 90% of SEC's emolument or revenue, rather. You find details on the pages of the national economy. All right, let's look at this story, Ify, on the front page of the First News newspaper. Another building collapse just days after we had recorded a building collapse, the 21-story building in Ikoyi. Now we see another one that has happened, and some persons, experts, are advising to think conspiracy theory, bomb blast, and all of it. I wonder what you make of this one too many building collapse in Lagos.
Yes, I've heard some of those conspiracies, Veronica, but I truly don't want to align with those. Some people are saying it's not possible for you to have a building such as the 21 stories just go down. Probably there was that probability that something like a bomb was put in there for it to come down, but I don't want to believe that. Let's talk about the one that you just raised now, another one going down. Yes, sometimes these things happen in quick succession, and you're asking yourself the question, is it possible that the people are not doing exactly what it is they're supposed to do when we talk about the materials that they need to get to do their work? I think government needs to look into that, so that we don't stand out away from what it is that's going on in those construction areas, and we're just trying to make permutations and guess what it is that's going on there. I think the authorities and the bodies involved need to take a critical look at this and understand what it is that's going on. Remember when there were plane crashes? Again, if you look at it, one after another in Nigeria, so many theories came to the fore. So these things can happen. It's probably time for the authorities to take a look at it, call people to question, allow people face the music for the wrong things they have done, or for the actions they didn't take, or the inactions, what they just sat down and didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do. So for me, I think we need to begin to ask the fundamental questions of what was it that was going on those sites? What is it that happened after those buildings actually came up? Are they really doing the right thing? Because it's difficult for you to just stand out and talk about what it is that's happening right there on those sites.
All right, let's bring the conversation to the studio now, because when the 21-story building happened, a lot of persons were saying that Lagos needs to take a critical look, because if you look at the states, the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos is that state that has witnessed a lot of building collapses, and that the government need to take the bull by the horn to addressing this issue. And we saw some steps taken, and now we are seeing another one. If we really want to address this matters of building collapse in the state, what do you think, or how do we begin to really address it? Because there's also the aspect of holding people to account, which we haven't seen in recent times.
A lot has been said about the need to address collapses of building. And maybe I should take you up on what you said, that Lagos has witnessed the most that we get to hear of. There is no empirical evidence to back that claim. Buildings are collapsing in other places, but perhaps because Lagos is the center, the epicenter of whatever is happening in Nigeria.
That's why it is the one
they get reported.
Yeah.
And then perhaps because you have a Lagos where you have high rises, the more. So more numbers of tall buildings are coming down in Lagos, presumably. Be that as it may, it is established in a quick succession. We've had 2 cases that cause on us to ponder. And I would say, I am not an expert in building construction and what have you. And if we have had some experts saying, let us be suspicious, I don't think we should throw away that.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, they know what they are talking about. Before you can tell me that building ought not to collapse the way it did, you probably have some background information.
Right.
Good. If they are right about the 21-story building, we are seeing evidences. We are seeing people coming up to say this guy didn't cut corners. Just as we are seeing people are saying he must have. Those who are accusing him of cutting corners are saying he must have. No evidence yet. Those who have come out to defend him are claiming they worked with him. They knew what he was doing. They've worked with him before in other countries. These are debatable claims. You understand? But if truly he didn't cut corners and the building came down, shouldn't we be suspicious? I'm saying if.
Yes.
If he didn't cut corners and the building came down, should we not be suspicious? Now, a few days after, another 4-story building in the same Lagos is down. Shouldn't we be suspicious? While we will continue to insist that those who must build in Lagos must always do the right thing.
Yes.
While we will continue to insist that government and all agencies of government and even private sector that must give permits, that must contribute in the art of building, that must participate in the process of erecting buildings, must ensure they follow due process. That is one sure way to prevent accidents. That is one sure way to prevent happenstances that will stare us in the face for our own wrongdoings. At the same time, I want to plead with government to listen to what the experts are saying about the possibilities of sabotage, conspiracy theories, and clear case of
bomb
blast. It is not impossible. We are in a country where nothing there is nothing to write home about in terms of security. A lot of agitations, real and imagined. A lot of anger, deep-seated, deep-rooted.
For a building that is still under construction?
You never can tell. People are in Syria.
People are working?
In Syria, people bomb public buildings that are under construction because they feel people will be killed there. What was the essence of the Abuja bombings in those days? It is to kill people. So if anybody feels that we should have about 30, 20 people in that place, a suicide bomber can walk in there and wreak havoc. In a country like Nigeria, that is the state we have got into. I am not saying these are the things that are happening now. I am telling you, with our current state of insecurity, it's a possibility.
Then it calls for serious concern.
It calls for concern. And if already experts, whoever they are now, whatever information they have, are saying, consider this. You shouldn't throw it away and allow these things to continue. We've taken so many call for caution for granted. We've been called to be cautious in the past severally that we refuse to, and we pay dearly for it. And we are still paying dearly for a lot. So we should, as a matter of urgency, explore all possibilities. Explore possibilities. That is what the government and the developers should not now take that as ready-made excuses for their own failures.
Right.
The state government in Lagos have promised to investigate the 21-story building. I'm sure they want to do this too. We want to see the report that details the role of everybody, public sector, private sector, government, developer, engineers, name them. The role they all played, positively or negatively, in the construction and collapse of that building. We really like to know.
All right. Now, there is this story that is almost in all the papers this morning, talking about the Nigerian newspaper, talking about the Cameroonian separatist invasion into a community in Taraba State. And we saw that a traditional ruler, that's the monarch, was killed. And these persons are said to be from southern Cameroon. They are separatists there. They invaded the Taraba community and killed some persons there. And then the Senate is reacting, saying that this Nigeria sovereignty is obviously under threat with these persons coming outside of the country to wreak this kind of havoc. Ify.
They've just said it. The sovereignty is under threat as it is. And we're asking again, who's supposed to be policing the borders of Nigeria? They're talking about internal aggression. Now you're looking at some kind of external aggression. It still boils down to the issue of insecurity that's actually pervading the nation. Of course, those who live in the Southwest might say, or in the South, might say, okay, this is not coming close to us. But whether you like it or not, whatever happens in the North will definitely affect different or other parts of the country. I think the security operatives need to wake up now and do something. In fact, they need to take a decisive step. If you need to now go and, let me not use the word retaliate, but you have to nip this in the bud. Because when they do this and get away with this, it simply means that people can just encroach, cause havoc, and get back to their country as it is. You just don't sit down and watch. You would tell me that you go to bigger democracies, when you look at places like the US, you go there, you say you want to invade, you want to cause havoc there, and you get out. It's not possible. They're not going to let you do that. So as a country, I think the security chiefs or operatives, or however they want to be called, they just need to wake up to their responsibility. We're seeing this now from separatists right there in Cameroon. Who has an idea what it is that's going to happen? Remember what they said to us when this issue of herders and bombers came right down on Nigeria. They said to us that these are not Nigerians. How did they get into the country? That's the big question. So it simply means that the borders are still as porous as it is. So they've got to step out, do the right thing, find a way to nip this in the bud, bring the people who have done this to book, and let them face the music.
Right. Bring the people who have, done this to book and let them face the music is what she is saying. But beyond security, the security approach to addressing this matter, the higher levels of government, diplomacy, and all of it can also be used to address this now that we know where these persons are coming from.
Yeah, we cannot rule that out. I quite agree with Ify on one hand. We need to show some form of seriousness. In one, policing our borders. Two, telling our neighbors that we still value our sovereignty. A few days ago, we saw the headline that Libyan fighters joined the swap to attack Nigerian military formations. We lost a general.
Yes.
It was established that Libyan fighters were part of those who wreaked the havoc. Today, these Cameroonian separatists who invaded the Nigerian community, killed the monarch and others, and obviously they went away. We must not forget that we have neighbors where there are issues. Mali is still there.
Yes.
Libya hasn't stopped their war. Cameroon. There is Sudan. If we don't make it clear that we will not tolerate invasion of this type, fighters or agitators or terrorists escaping from the long arm of the law in their own country will make our own country their basis. I mean, remote part of our own country close to their own borders. And they would do all sorts of things. It has also been established that some of the gendarmes from the people in causing chaos in Zamfara and Katsina are from Nigeria and other neighboring countries. What have we done about all those things?
Right. If we haven't done something about
That's why Cameroon
can we
is joining.
do something about this?
That is why it's a collective call now. Let us address this issue of porous borders. Our borders being porous is not a permanent excuse to be taken for a ride by our neighbors. Good. Our borders are porous. Aren't their own borders porous?
We know the problem, so why aren't we addressing
the
it?
problem is, you see, it's just like whatever faces you will be backing the other person. So if it's facing you today, address it. How do you address it? You can turn the face to face the other side. They will be forced to also address it too. But if it's facing you and you are soaking it in, then you are making it easy for these characters to take us for granted. We have a country. Forget what which some of us say about our country. Forget what we've now made people outside Nigeria to see us for. Let us.
But isn't that part of the challenge?
That is why we should rise up to the challenge. Now that these things has happened before and we didn't do anything about it, is no reason not to take the bull by the horn now. If we still don't do that now, something else will happen to still add to these insults How can Cameroonian separatists, what are they looking for in Nigeria? Is it Nigeria they want to separate? And they walk into a Nigerian community, non-Nigerian community. And maybe they could not carry out their activities anymore anywhere in Cameroon. And they come into Nigeria.
Do you think that, because sometimes persons would say that they couldn't have come in without collaborators from within?
With the kind of borders we have.
To carry out this kind of attack?
With how isolated some of our communities can be. If you go to these communities we talk about in Yobe, in Adamawa, in Borno, in Taraba, they can really be isolated. They are closer to these countries we talk about than they are to any civilization in Nigeria. That's the truth. The kind of landmass in these areas we talk about, the kind of isolated communities we find, sprinkles of it everywhere, on the border with various countries.
So impact of government on those...
Not impact of government,
right.
Security especially.
Right.
That government to be in a position to secure these people is remote. I am sure they raised the alarm. I am sure they tried to reach the nearest police or army formation. I am sure help was late in coming. I don't need anybody to tell me that.
Well, we can
help came late.
Right.
If help didn't come late, why were they not?
The monarch couldn't have been killed.
They were killed, they were maimed, they were. I mean. So it shows that in as much as we want to lay claim to these territories, we must police these territories. You cannot leave people to their own fate. And they are Nigerians in name only, not in what the government can do for them. They are just Nigerians in name only. The Cameroonian separatists looked around. All the Cameroonian communities, the Cameroonian government know also. They are after us. Let's attack this one. Maybe what they are after is money and food. And they did that.
Right.
It's unfortunate and it should not be allowed to continue.
Really unfortunate. We hope that now that the Senate is speaking that Nigeria's sovereignty is under threat, that the necessary steps are taken to address it and nip the matter in the bud as quickly as possible. Ify Onyegbule, broadcast journalist, thank you so much. Dare Odufowokan, thank you as well for your time on the program. All right.